Welcome to African Horizon. It's a great honor and pleasure to be providing the first program in our new NRCI original series, focusing only on Africa. Africa is a very important continent for the coming decades and centuries. Africa has an enormous growth potential, 54 countries, currently almost 1.4 billion people. Personally, I had the great honor of traveling a lot in Africa. I've been on 10 fact-finding expeditions, and I've traveled alone by public bus with the locals across 28 countries in Western, Southern, and Eastern Africa. I've been to 42 countries in Africa in total. There are 54, so I do have a few left. Those are mostly the island countries. But I've traveled intensely across the western part, the central part, the southern, the eastern, and the northern parts of Africa. So I've been mapping infrastructure, logistics, seeing business opportunities, looking at tribal communities, assessing how countries interact, potential opportunities, but also risks. Been mapping geopolitical risks and seeing amazing landscapes across a vast continent. There is a lot of misunderstandings out in media about what's going on in Africa. There are a lot of different misconceptions, I think. And I'd like to provide my thoughts in regular updates and videos for you every Friday, focusing only on Africa. While traveling in Africa, I've been on the ground across so many countries, seeing by myself. I've been crossing borders by bus, been crossing vast territories in the Sahel region, along the Gulf of Guinea coastlines. I've been traveling up along, Southern Africa, Eastern Africa, and also Western Africa. And it has been very interesting to see the importance of infrastructure. Now, the discussion around infrastructure in Africa often comes back to Chinese investments, and I wanted to talk about that today. A lot of people, particularly in Western media, in Europe and across North America, often criticize Chinese investments in Africa. I have personally seen how important infrastructure is. Roads, railroads, ports, energy, it is so important. Therefore, I think it is important to nuance the discussion about Chinese investments in infrastructure in Africa. I've seen a lot of Chinese business people across Africa. I've talked to many Chinese business people as well. Had lunch and dinners with a range of Chinese business people. And what is very interesting to see is their dedication to provide infrastructure and to work on infrastructure projects across Africa. And I think it is very important to realize that for many African countries, all African countries, infrastructure is absolutely vital. And there are more countries in Africa than others that have more need for infrastructure. But in general, there is a strong need for infrastructure. And what the Chinese are doing, Chinese companies, I think is very, very important. Because I've traveled across vast territories, such as, for example, the Sahel region and other parts that are, really, there are extreme conditions, really tough conditions. And there, with investments, with infrastructure, with energy projects and other, supply chain related projects, trade can flourish, goods can move, and important materials can travel across vast distances, which again, enable construction of buildings, of important warehousing. You can create logistics bases. I just really think it's very important to realize that what Chinese companies, Chinese investors, Chinese businesses are doing across Africa for investments and for infrastructure in Africa is very, very important. Now, there are also cases where there have been difficulties, there have been challenges. Some projects did not go or work out. I've heard criticism against the quality of infrastructure built by Chinese. In general, what I've seen when I've traveled on the ground myself, I've seen very good quality. But I think it's important to realize that there are also countries in Europe, in Scandinavia and other parts of the Western world where not always infrastructure is the best. So I think it's very easy to criticize, but I think it's important to rather have a more constructive conversation. And that is what I want to provide with the African Horizon series. So again, I think it's important to consider that. And for those of you who think perhaps, you want to think about opportunities in terms of infrastructure, there are many opportunities for infrastructure investments in Africa. Therefore, it's important to travel to the region when that is possible. But while now, during the corona pandemic, do research, map opportunities, reach out to a lot of people, companies and investors and African companies, they are so eager to do business. So, really consider the opportunities that are on the ground and do a lot of research and That was the message today. I think it's important to nuance the conversation about Chinese investments in infrastructure in Africa and to consider the importance that they actually provide for the countries on the ground. So thank you very much for joining. This was the premiere of African Horizon, and I look forward to see you next Friday.